Welcome to Virtual and Video. This is your strategy for staying connected at a time like this. Incredibly important. I'm proud to say that 47 shops have checked in over the past couple of days, so thank you again. It's important to get these strategies out. It's just something that I've been working on and developing after over some time, and I know that it's going to serve you well. So the Engel and Volkers templates that we have, that we've all seen, are wonderful. There's stock imagery, there's some wonderful messages, but the fact of the matter is a lot of people now, especially with social media, their eyes just kind of glaze over. They don't really connect with a lot of that imagery, right? But they do connect when you speak to them directly. And in a time like this where we cannot meet face-to-face, shake hands, have that type of connection, the human connection still is important. And so being able to get on a video like this and see all of you and chat with all of you, interact with all of you is so important. And so likewise, to have the opportunity to record video, send a direct message to somebody, whether it's a text or you put it in an email or you send it through social media direct messaging, however you decide to execute on it, having something that's not only personalized, but branded and professional in keeping with everything that Engel and Volkers has shared with us. Again, this isn't something they've brought down from the top, but it's something that I think will certainly do justice to the brand and the brand that we hold so dear. The other reason why I'm so big on this right now is that in order to use a lot of those social media templates that they've offered us in any of those marketing efforts, it's all based on Photoshop. And so you've got to sit at the computer, or you've got to hire somebody to do it, or you spend the time to do it, right? And really, as we know, our highest and best use is not to be sitting in front of the computer to do this. It's to create relationships and build business. And so that's why having this mobile solution in your pocket to execute on, whether you want to do imagery, whether it's stock imagery, which I don't really recommend, or more content specific, more specific to your market, the home you just listed, a quick video of you, a quick selfie video of you saying how excited you are about having this new listing, recording that video, and then immediately placing that inside of these templates that I'm going to show you, and then you can just send it right off or put it on your social media or whatever you need to do. And the fact of the matter is it's a time saver. So a little bit about me real quick. Why am I doing this? Why am I qualified to speak on it? It's something that I've spent about 7 or 8 years on doing now. I started Engel and Volkers about 3.5 years ago, opened Engel and Volkers Stewart with my partner, was a licensed partner, and just this past year went back into sales and moved my license over to the Jupiter shop. So now I'm out of the Jupiter, Florida location with Ken and Candace there. But prior to all of that, I was a kindergarten and a 5th grade bilingual teacher, and loved that job, but did not pay a lot. So I started to look at other things that I was passionate about. And I was very good with computers. And so I was the one that the teachers would come to and say, Eddie, can you help me? That was back in the day when you can just unplug something and plug it back in and it worked. And so it got me more into technology. I started my computer consulting business, and then I had a client that was in real estate. He was a realtor, very successful, but he was terrible at computers, so I was there all the time. And we developed a nice relationship, and he's still my good friend now. He's in Chicago, and that's how I got into real estate. And so I've been in real estate now for 20 years, and video has been staying on top with video, and technology has just been one of the things that I've done. And so there's never been a better time to have this type of presentation and share all this with you. I haven't developed a lot of slides or anything like that because I think this is timely. I didn't want to spend too much time on that, but we are recording it, so you can certainly reference a lot of these things in the future. So let's get started here. So the goal of the meeting today, because I wanted to be very intentional, the goal of the meeting today is to get you communicating virtually with your clients, your sphere, and your professional network by using mobile video in a way that is brand compliant, polished, and professional. So that's my goal for you today. I told you a little bit about my backstory. So let's get started here. Why video and why I use it? Again, it's never been a more important time to be using video. It conveys emotion, a leadership, compassion at a time like this where we need to remind ourselves that we're all in this together and that we're going to get through it. And so that type of messaging is certainly a part of your effort with using video. And this is just the way I'm going to teach you how to package that so you can get it out there. Our goal is to combine these important points and deliver them wrapped in a beautiful way that only Engel Volkers does, right? That's one of the things that we love about it. I was able to see everyone's answers to the poll when you registered, so thank you. An overwhelming 70% of you were already comfortable with video. And the reason why I asked that question was just to get a gauge as to how quickly I can maybe go through things or be able to have to slow down as well to teach things. I will go, like I said, relatively quickly, but I am making myself available to you with any questions that you may have after the fact, okay? So the tools that I use, here we go. The centerpiece of this talk is the Over app. The app is called Over, O-V-E-R. It's got a yellow icon, and it's available for Android and for Apple. For your Apple phone. And so really the iPhone is something that most people have, or an Android phone, a smartphone. Everyone's got a smartphone today, right? So that's not anything that you really need to not go out and buy. The Over app is $15 a month if you pay monthly. And I was on the call earlier today and someone said that it's now, probably because of everything that's going on, now been reduced to $69 for the entire year. So I highly recommend that you look into that and make the investment, provided that this is something you're going to execute on, right? I can teach to you all day, but if you don't decide to do it, it's not, it's not worth your investment, of course. But I assembled this in a way where it makes it as easy as possible, even for ones that are technically challenged a little bit with the technology, right? Second to the phone and the app, of course, would be a tripod. And I'm going to go over some of these elements here. I will send links to this. I don't want to spend too much time with it, but if you have the app icon where there's, sure, absolutely. Here, I'll stop here in a moment just so that you can, because that's probably a question some of you are gonna ask. And although I said I was gonna wait, but let me just show you real quick what it looks like in case you want to pull it up while we're talking. Okay, I'm gonna go to my phone here. And you all should be able to see my phone now. Let me exit out of it. And here it is right here. Top right corner, Over. Just yellow with a circle. Okay, and that's the app, and we will go into that here in a moment. But the getting back to what I was saying, the elements that I'll go back here to this screen. The elements that I was talking about, you need your phone, a tripod, a mic, and lights. And I say those in order in which you need them. Really, what you need right now is your phone, and second to that is going to be the tripod, just so you can step away a little bit, have a little stability on, so you're not always in selfie mode like this or having someone else hold it. The tripod that I'm going to recommend, and again, I'll send you this list in a follow-up email so you have it. These are all items that are available on Amazon, and all in, you're depending on the tripod you choose, you're either going to be at about $80 or $120 for everything. And that's not including paying for the app, but I'm talking about the Amazon shopping list: tripod, mic, and lights. Okay, thank you. So now how to shoot. The shooting orientation is going to depend on this way or this way, right? Portrait or landscape. It's going to depend on how you're going to deliver that content. If it's content you're going to deliver that you're going to be putting on YouTube, for instance, or you're going to be a Facebook post, YouTube, typically landscape works better. If you're going to do an Instagram story, portrait mode's probably best. Again, it just depends on how you're going to send it. I also use it, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I also use an app, a program rather, called BombBomb. A lot of you are familiar with it. It's been around for a while. I love it because it allows me then to also use these videos to send out very quickly through email and such, okay? And also tracks who opens it, which is always great to know who's opening your content. But that's all, again, like I said, that's going to depend on how you're going to deliver that content. Obviously the most of the use, and I encourage you to use it this way, is in portrait, because this way you can send it via text, and that's really, if you're going to send one-on-one messages, that's the way to go. So what do I say, right? And so what am I using this for? Just real quickly. Obviously, this strategy is used to stay on top of your transactions, right? So if you're in the middle of a transaction right now, to be able to communicate with your buyers, with your sellers, with your lending partners, with the title companies, especially if you need to reassure somebody, that face-to-face with the video is going to go a long way. Right now, I've been using it heavily as I'm sitting, in my backyard. I'm just going through my messages. I just I pick up my phone, look through my text messages, scroll all the way to the bottom, and work my way up. And I send video messages to everybody. Hey Jane, how are you? It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. I don't do anything salesy. It's all staying in touch. How have you been? Is there anything I can do for you? That's it. You don't have to remind them. All these people know you already, and they know you're in real estate. So if they do have a need, they're certainly going to reach out to you. But it's a nice polished way to connect with people. And then third is networking with our partners, like we're doing right now. I do it all the time. I'm actually inviting a lot of my industry partners to do Instagram Live meetings with me so that we can put out some valuable content to our public so that they know that we're on top of it and we can bring our following the latest information. So that's another way. So I believe now we're going to just roll right into the demo, but I'm going to pause here for a moment because I want to look at the questions. Make sure I don't want to start to steamroll over everybody. Can you post a picture of the app icon? Okay, we did that. Sending video message. What app do you use with this? BombBomb or Over? So the sending, and Julie, if you want to unmute yourself for a moment, you want to ask that question just so I'm clear on it.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Julie. Thanks so much.
So when you said when you go through your text messages, you go through the bottom up, right? I was just wondering, when you send that, do you go through what app do you use? Do you go through BombBomb?
No, when I'm recording my videos to send out through text message, I'm just using the camera on my phone.
Okay, so you're using the camera on your phone. Okay.
Yeah, and everything that I shoot, whether it's a photo, whether it's a video for this strategy, it's all being shot on my phone. So I'm recording off my phone or shooting off my phone, and then of course it saves it to your phone. And then when you're in the app, the Over app, and you're ready to lay the photo in or lay the video in, it leads you right back to your phone's gallery, and then you just click it, pick it, and it goes right in.
And then you're editing it are you editing it, your text message or the video from your Over app? Is there editing through there? And you'll go through that later, I guess, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I will touch on it. I won't go into detail, but the short answer is yes. You can edit, especially when it comes to the video. When you bring that video in from your camera, from your gallery into the Over app, before it allows you to put it in, it says, is this the video you want? You say yes. And it also shows you at the bottom a little bit of a range, or like an adjuster, so that you can then adjust. Because sometimes at the very beginning, you may look a little clumsy, or you're setting the phone right or something like that. You can edit that, slide it in so that it starts at the point where you're starting to smile and starting to talk.
Right.
At the very end as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, that was the only other question typed in there. I hope everyone is still engaged and connected and getting something out of this. So I am now going to go into the exciting part, if you will, which is going back into the Over app. And now I'm going to screen share this. Excuse me. All right. So now you all should be looking at my phone. That's my home screen. I'm going to go into where I keep my Over app. There it is, under my photo and video folder. These are all the different apps that I use. Again, I'm a little bit of a junkie, so I do play with different things and just to test. But in that's why it's important for me to have this video with you today. This presentation is because I've done the work. I've done all the work, and what I'm saying to you is these are the things you need to have, and that's it. Is it 100% of everything that can be done? Absolutely not. Is it 95%? I feel very strongly that it is. So get yourself the Over app. So let me go back here. I'm sorry. Over app. Here we go. Actually, it opens with this window. So when you first launch the Over app, this is what you get. Okay, and it gives you the opportunity to gives you some creative ideas here. Again, you can get lost in this forever and a day. But what we're going to focus on is creating our videos with the templates. Here we are. So I'm going to go at the bottom here, and I'm going to click projects, which is where my projects live. This is where all of my projects are saved. Okay. And you'll see here at the top right here is the one I'm going to teach you today. Here we are. This is the one that I'm going to teach you to build today. What I'm not going to go into specifics, of course, is how to craft this. So, and it sounds a little deceiving, and I apologize, but the reason is it takes a little bit of time. But once you create this template, and I was on the phone earlier, once you get it, you just save it and it's done. So you're only doing this once, okay? This is the template that we're going to create. And this is the template, the orientation and the size that I use 9 times out of 10. I really don't have to adjust from this. This is a size and a layout that is favorable in any way you send it, whether it's a text message, an email, in any of those formats. This, I'm sure you could all probably agree, is a very good representation of the branding that Engel Volkers has come down. It's pretty much spot on, kind of proud of it. Took me a while to build this out, but I'm going to show you what it is like behind the scenes. So at the very top, second button from the right, you'll see this layer look, right? Little squares. When I click that, that shows me the layers. This is every single element that comprises that image I just showed you, that video I just showed you. From the top, it's the square that is the square outline around the video. It's the red line, of course, that we're all famous for. It's the We Are Engel Volkers at the very bottom, which you'll see again. A personalized approach is the message that lives inside there in the middle. The white block is that block that the message is sitting on top. And deceptively, that star is actually what makes the angles of what we consider the upside down house. And maybe when I click back, you'll appreciate what I'm talking about here. And then at the very bottom there is the video itself, and then the background. So you see the background is white, which is what we want in case something shows through, and then it just shows through white. And then you see, if you can make out that size, it's 1080 by 1350. That is the size of this particular project, okay? Now you can start to see that this shape right here, and I'm going to start to pull them out just so you can see them. Actually, let me go back here for a moment, just not to mess with this one. I'm going to duplicate it real quick. Duplicate this. And this is kind of I was going to get to this, but this duplicating feature is what allows you to protect moving forward. So once you have your template, and this is a picture of you and your messaging, and you're done and you've got this complete, this duplicating effort here allows you to then, it creates a duplicate at the very top. And so now you've protected that first one. You don't have to mess with it. So just create a duplicate. Now you've got a duplicate project. Now this one you can manipulate moving forward. And if you wanted to do different sizes or different things, this is the way to do it. That way the first one is safe and not messed with. But if I mess with this one for the purposes of showing you all the different elements, you'll see that that's the square layer. Remember, see that was the square that lived over there? And then in the layer is, actually, let me go back to here. Here's the red line, all right? And we'll go back. Here's the We Are Engel Volkers, right? Here is the personalized approach. There it is. And you see there's guides that put everything in place, put it in the middle. Again, this is something I unfortunately just do it because of time. I won't be able to go through. But again, reach out to me if you have questions. This is just something you play with. I would recommend that you have on your phone an image of the Engel Volkers, of this same thing with the Engel Volkers template, and just go back and forth and just visually start to manipulate things. You know, eventually you'll bring this square in and you will see how there's guides. You'll do this, you'll move it around, you'll bring it here, all that until you get it where you need it to be. That's just me click with my finger, you know, using these guides up and down, this little yellow circle at the bottom, and manipulating that. This is the most deceiving one. That was the star. Now you'll see it at the bottom. It's the V. That's because it's a huge star. See that? So what I did is I took that star, put it in there. So this just was trial and error over a period of time. But the shortcut for you now is you'll have this, and I can always screen share it to you, screen capture it and send it to you if you want to see these elements, and be able to duplicate them yourself. But this is the shortcut, knowing what pieces go in there. So now I've kind of messed with this one, but if I check out of this. Now, that was a lot. So I'm going to take some questions. If you have any questions at this point, I won't leave the app yet, but I'll see if any of you have any questions. Feel free to unmute yourself too and ask away. I don't see anything in the chat box. Or you click Create Project. Which layout did you start with? Okay. Thank you. So if I go back. And I went with the plus sign is what's going to start the project. And I went, and let me know if this is what's answering your question. I went with white background. Okay, so this is starting from scratch. Let me go back again, right? Because that was your question. And this is how you're going to start anyway when you leave and you're going to do this on your own. It's plus, white background, or you can video or image, but for this purpose, just follow along. It's white. And now at the bottom, you'll see all the different formats, all the different aspect ratios. This one specifically says story at the bottom there, 9:16, because that's good for Instagram story. And I'll show you one that I have finished that's an Instagram story as well. Just all the different, I mean, it's a lot in here. But I believe the one I've used, that I used as the demonstration, was this portrait one, 1080 by 1350, which again, it's a nice middle ground. It's a nice middle ground to, you know, so for it to be used in a lot of places. Is the Over for our app? Over is an app you pay to use it. Correct. Yes. Over is an app you pay to use. Correct. Where you click, which layout do you start with? So that's the layout I start with. I hope that answered your question. That's where I start with, and I click the check mark yes, and there is your blank template. And now you start to go in and start to add in, I'm sorry, not graphics. You start to add in your shapes. See, that's the start of the, then you've got to change that to white. You know, that's the one that started to become the border. If I can just kind of quickly show you. And that's all you're doing, is you're bringing in these elements. And again, I will share with you that screenshot so you see which elements I brought in, just to kind of cut your time down. But once you place them and manipulate them around, you're good to go. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect, perfect. Any other questions at this point with regard to working inside the Over app? As you can see, obviously I'm not going through every single step, but it should give you a good start as to where you need to be. Let me go. I'll get out of here. I'll discard the changes. And here's what I wanted to show you. And I'll show you quickly how I got there. So once you have this top right one, let me get back to my screen here. You should still be seeing my phone. Once you have this top one at the right there that you're gonna create, that's gonna be your first one. Then you can go into creating one like this. And it's basically still respecting the brand and the templates and the layout and all of that. It's just a different format. This is a good format for Instagram stories, if you're going to do some social media posting. But this is basically, it's the same. So all I did was, when I had, I'm going to duplicate this one real quick just to mess with these. Once I had that original one, all I did was go up to layers, go down to the very bottom where the layout is of 1080 by 1350. And I scrolled over, and you see as I scroll over to all the different sizes, this is actually Instagram story right here, 1080 by 1920. And so then I click or select the check mark at the top right again. And then I'm able to, it looks a little obviously messed up, but every single element is still in there. Now it's just a matter of manipulating it a little bit to, here, like for instance, this one, just to be able to bring it back where it belongs and move it around a little bit. And now you start to see it take shape, right? And now I'll select the star, and then I'll move that up. And then I'll select the square, and then I'll pinch that in so there's a little space at the right and the left of it. And then we'll go again to the wording, and we'll maybe move that up a little bit. So you see, I'll go back to the star, and I'll move that down, really, because this bar right here should be moved down. Something like that. So you see, obviously, it'll take a little finessing, but you saw how quickly I got to that. Now I just check mark that and save that one. Now, actually, I'll go back for a moment. The video, now you can also mess with the video. So I will select the video and maneuver that as well, because now it makes more sense to have it up here, right? And then check mark at the top right, save it again. And now I'm gonna hit save, the bottom left. This is something I haven't shown you yet. And all it's doing is, and if it's video, it takes a little bit longer. You see that little wheel, the yellow wheel is starting to turn. All that's doing is it's obviously processing the video, and the video takes a little bit longer, because especially if it's a longer video. If it's just an image, it's almost instant that it takes for us to save. But I'm gonna, just to give you some reference here, I'm gonna let it continue. It's probably only gonna be another 5 or 6 seconds. And I see I have a question there. I'm going to pop over to that question here in a moment. All right, so that's it. So now, where did it go? Where did it save it? Not only is it, of course, saved in my projects inside the app, but it's also saved inside my gallery. So now, like any other image, video that you have that lives on your phone, that you took with your camera or whatever it is, there it is. And now what do I want to do with it? Well, I can text it to all of you. I can email it to all of you. Send it out like this. But now at least you've got, and this is obviously a little bit more of a poor example because I didn't go through all the finessing of the template, of course. But if it was picture perfect, you'd have a nice branded, brand compliant video to send out. So I'm going to go to your questions here in a moment. Did you also download the font? Sean, great question. No, actually the font is actually already living in there, believe it or not. And I don't believe it's the exact same one, but damn, is it close. So I'll go back to this image. And it's the new listing one. Yeah, it was already in there. New text EFML is the one I use. You see that on the bottom there. And that's a pretty good representation. I don't know what ours is technically called, but if it's not that, it's certainly very close. Same with the We Are Engel and Volkers. This was all natively inside the app, so I didn't have to go hunt and peck for any of this stuff. So that's this one. And that's Helvetica New. And that one already lived in the app. I hope that helps, Sean. Do you make the video from this app or upload to app from phone? Good question. Thank you. Yeah, I just shoot it from the phone first. I've got my stand, and that was kind of back where I was talking to you about having some of those tools. I know some of you that were in my session 2 days ago already went ahead and invested in that set. And again, you'll get that list in an email. Yeah, I just record it natively from my iPhone. I just shoot that natively from my iPhone. And then it's obviously a video that's now in my gallery, or if it's a photo, but obviously we're talking about video. So I shoot the video, it's on my phone. Then I go into the Over app. I open up the template that I've created, which I showed you, and then I just replace it. So I'll give you a quick example right now. So I'll go back to the screen here. Okay, and so you're seeing this video here. So let's just say this is the finished template. This is the way I liked it, and then this is the video I wanted to replace, right? So now I've shot a new video for another customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the video. You see at the very bottom, you've got a little minus sign on the left. I'm going to click that, and then the delete shows up. So I'll click delete. And now if I go back to the template, you see that the video is completely gone. But that's the only element that was removed. And now I'm going to go at the bottom. You'll see video or image. So I can choose an image. Either way, it's going to go to my phone's gallery. So whether I click image or video. In this case, I'm going to use video. And I'm going to go into some of all these older videos I've got that don't, like this one here. Here's a good example. You'll see the one on the left has already been branded with another branding that I use for more just kind of direct messaging stuff. That's not necessarily a template that is consistent with Engel and Volkers, but it's one that I like, that I use, and so it kind of has like a newscaster look and feel. So that was kind of cool. But let's choose the one that's to the right of it. That's just a raw video that I shot on my phone. And so this app is referencing the videos and the photos on my phone that live on my phone. So I'm clicking that one. And here's what I discussed earlier about adjusting. You can adjust left and right here. So if I wasn't ready at the beginning, or wasn't smiling yet, or whatever it is, I can manipulate that to adjust that length. And then I would hit the check mark once I liked the way it was, the check mark at the top. And then there's the video. So now let's put the video in, right? And so if I go back to my layers, sometimes it doesn't put it all the way at the bottom for whatever reason, and I just move it all the way to the bottom. So what I mean by that is I slide it all the way down, just like you can click like on this red line and slide it down by holding the buttons on the right, the 3 little lines on the right. If you click and hold that, it allows you to move its place in the layer stack, okay? But for this one happened to put it at the bottom, and now the video is there. So again, this template already existed. Oops, This template already existed. So now it's just a matter of moving the video around where I want it, and you're done. Basically, that's it. You may pinch and zoom it, whatever you need to do to adjust it, move it around. It's going to live behind everything else that you've created. You're going to hit the check mark, hit that mark again, hit the save at the bottom. And now what it's doing is it's saving it to my phone. I'm going to go back to the questions here before I leave the phone. Is there a particular time limit for videos that work best for uploading versus posting? I mean, are you talking about posting? If you can unmute yourself, I'd like to get more little clarity on your question. That would be great.
I meant, you know how when you post a video to Facebook or you do something from your phone, under a minute works better? Does this need to be a certain time limit to accept into the program best?
No, I've shot some videos and worked them through the Over app to overlay, you know, my branding and everything on there, like I showed you, that were 6, 7, 8 minutes long. So the only thing that happens there is it just takes longer for it to process it, for it to deliver the finished product, and it ends up in your gallery. But that's it. There's really no limit. And you know, when you're posting online, there really shouldn't be any limit anyway. I mean, there's some minimums, like for IGTV, it has to be at least a minute long and things like that. But you know, I wouldn't necessarily determine the length of it because it says you should have to be a certain length. It's just whatever is appropriate for the content or the message you're trying to relay. All right. Wonderful. So that's that. I showed you the templates. We went over the photos and the videos. I'm going to open it up to Q&A here in a moment. And please ask your specific questions. But I'm going to finish off here with how do I send it? So I kind of briefly already talked about how I send things. The majority of the way I send things, especially at a time like now, like we're dealing with right now, is to record the video on my phone, run it through Over, so I have my pretty branding on there and it looks good. And then it saves it to my phone, and then I go into my text messages and I fire off that video. You know, so I just go through my text messages and I see Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I haven't talked to them in a while. It's a great time to reach out to them. I created a quick video for them and I send it out. Now, that's a little more time intensive because you're talking about creating a video for everyone, right? And obviously there's some that require that because it's a customer that you worked with for a long time. They deserve that type of time. If you're just trying to rifle through a lot of people, you may want to create a message that is a little bit more generic. Hi, I was thinking, without using their name. I was thinking about you. Hope you're doing great. If I can help you in any way, please reach out. And now they see your face. They see you referencing them, and they've got your contact information. That's why I like that other one. I briefly showed it to you, but it's got my name, my collaborative logo. It's got my collaborative logo and my social media handles. Those social media handles are just images. They're not anything you can click on and go to. That's it. I mean, that's it for that portion. I just wanted to see we're 42 minutes in. I hope that helped some of you. Again, I want you to know that you can reach out to me. Some of you have already to have a little bit more one-on-one time, but I absolutely encourage you to invest your time and your money in doing, using video to reach out to people and stay in touch. I'm going to go into the chat box here for a moment. Okay, there's no other messages there. If anybody would like to unmute themselves and ask a question, please fire away.
Did you say that you were going to send out a link with which tripod and whatnot you recommend?
Yes, I'm going to send a link to those items, just in a kind of follow-up thank you email to all of you, and it'll include the links to that. The only other difference in the tripods is the one I use. Actually, I've got several, but the one I first bought for this effort was just an Amazon Basics one, and it was $20, I think it was. But it's only, the limitation there is if you're a little bit of a taller person, you may find yourself wanting to squat down a little bit because it doesn't go as high. And so in the link, you'll also see one that I have not purchased. I've never used it before, but it is one of the 77-inch ones that may serve you better. It's a little bit more of an investment, but like I said, it's probably another $30 versus the $20 for the tripod. The microphones, I use a lapel microphone. Actually, I don't have them right here with me. Wired lapel lavalier mic, and it comes in a set of 2, which is great, and has a little Y connector. There'll also be a link to an adapter that you might need if you have an iPhone for that type of setup. But it's great for interviews. Once we're back and comfortable being in the same room with somebody, it's a great way to interview. But also, that is what I use when I shoot my video. So if I am doing what I'm telling you to do, which is sending Mr. and Mrs. Jones a personalized video of myself, I am setting the phone on the tripod in its mount. The mount's in the link as well, too, by the way. Tripod, mount, phone, microphone, and occasionally lights. You don't need lights. I like them to fill a room if I'm doing something in darker times or just the light is not optimal. But if you're really clever about using natural light, just angle yourself at a 45-degree into the light like this, and it's usually the most appealing way of doing it. Or invest in the lights. The lights are not that expensive. I think this light setup looks fancy, and you haven't seen it yet, but it's I think it was $100 for both lights. So it's, again, not a very expensive investment. What else can I say about that? Mic, lights, that's it. The mics are really nice because it really clears up the audio. I know right now I've got some feedback that it sounded pretty good, but with the microphone, it's so nice and clean. And again, it just adds to that polish and professional. So I hope that answered your question. Teddy, thank you, Eddie. You're welcome, Teddy.
Eddie, I've got a question for you.
Yes, please.
It's Sean. What app are you using to edit your videos? Are you just going into Over, or do you use the iMovie? What do you use?
Yeah, I'm not doing any kind of, again, to keep it simple, I'm not really editing. And again, some of you may not be as comfortable as I've gotten over the years now, but I encourage you just to do it. I mean, people know who you are. They know what you look like. They know, unless you're absolutely petrified, obviously that may take a little bit more time, but to answer your question, I shoot it so directly and so regularly that I just shoot it. And the only thing I'm cutting off is maybe a little bit of clumsiness in the beginning before I, kind of do this and get in front of the mic, fix that. And I cut that off at the beginning, and then I smile. That's always my starting point. I'll do this, and then I'll just go. And that's my cue to know that I'm about to start, and that's basically where I cut it. And then at the very end, too, is in case one of those links includes a little Bluetooth remote, which is kind of nice because you can turn off and turn on your camera. You're recording it without moving. But if you happen to not have that and you reach over to shut off your camera, that's also an opportunity at the end where you may want to edit it. But that's it. And that can happen inside the Over app or natively on the Apple camera, of course, the video, you can edit it there as well. But you can do it in Over, so it's not really a big deal. Just shoot it, put it into Over, and go. I don't spend a lot of time editing anything else other than the beginning and the end. Because over time you're just going to get good, and you're just going to do this, and that's it. You'll do it, and you'll record it, and you'll fire it up. Amanda says to Eddie, thank you for taking the time. I'm going to play with it today. I would love to keep a line of communication open as I get going. Absolutely, Amanda, please do. Terry, this may be a dumb question. There are no dumb questions, but if you are standing away from your phone, how do you start and stop the video? Okay, I did mention that. Yeah, again, when you don't have the link, one of the links that I'm going to send you is not only the holder, and I think it's super cheap. It's like $12. The holder that sits on top of your camera to hold your phone. It also comes with a little Bluetooth remote, and I don't have it handy here, but literally it's tiny. It's just a button, and it connects easily with your phone. It's not a big, difficult thing to connect, and basically it's a clicker. So you just stand back here and click. It starts your camera, and now you're recording, and that may eliminate the cutting in the beginning and in the end. And then when you're done, thanks so much. I look forward to being in touch. Smile, click, and that's it. So it'll cut down your amount of editing time. But again, if you don't have that, not a big deal. You just edit it in the Over app, and you go. Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. I'll go play with it. Yeah, please do, Sean. Please do. At a time like this, it's important to stay connected, and I appreciate everyone that has connected with me today. And again, I make myself available to answer any of your questions moving forward. Does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself. No? Well, if that's it for the questions, I want to say thank you to all of you who have connected today. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for being here. And again, reach out to me. You'll find me. I'm sure you've got my email address, of course. But reach out to me. I'm on the not the command app, the Google Meet app that Engel Volkers has set up. Oh, by the way, let me send this quick out. And Nikki, if you can help me, Nicole, if you can help me also spread the word, that would be great. I will obviously, as things develop, as I come up with new ideas to share with you that I think will bring value, I'm going to continue to post those links and those events inside the digital mastermind meeting room. So that's something that's not readily apparent. And but Nicole, did start that, and thank you, Nicole, for starting that group. It allows us to kind of connect on a little bit more of a techie. Yeah, she says, yes, we have a great meetup group. We're happy. So anybody who wants to request that, please request it from Nicole or myself, and we'll get you in the room. That's obviously where we're talking about these types of strategies. Yep, send Eddie or I or G-Chat. Yep, and we'll add you in, absolutely. I look forward to doing these again. I'd love to hear your feedback, even if you just send me a quick message or a quick text, just to see if this has been helpful, how we can improve it, and obviously if there's anything else specifically you want to learn about within the video space, because that's obviously something that I've been pretty good at. So if there's nothing else, thank you again. Thanks, Chad, appreciate it, and we'll stay connected, and I wish you and your families the best of health and great success in your businesses moving forward, okay? Have a great one.
Thanks, Eddie. All right, then. Thank you.
Bye-bye.